So, but I uploaded my units this year. I had 16 weeks left in 17 weeks. So I only have to pay 12 this next semester. Because I wanted to be able to spend time on stuff like this.
Kevin, we good? We're live? Drinking water right now.
You get leave it to welcome here.
Yeah, we should say hi. Thank you. If you are watching from home or you are here live, the candidates page. We're having our first candidate come up for maybe a shares of
No, he goes. He's on it. He's on it. His picture's on the canister. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go log in and make sure we see it. All right, I'm gonna go log in and make sure we see it.
I guess so. What's your name? What is it? TK? Jason? What are you working for today?
Hello. If everyone can take their seats, please. Oh, okay. So thank you if you're watching from home. This is the 2018 AS Elections debate. So our first candidate coming up is for VP of External Affairs. He will now provide his opening statement.
Hello, San Francisco State. My name is Garrett Wilhelm, and this is Eddie. And I am a 48-year-old communications student major with a minor in global peace, human rights, and justice. Returning to school after a career in tech, I previously completed an associate's in humanities and an associate's in behavioral sciences with a focus in social work, as well as a certificate in mental health services. I'm from San Diego City College and Alliant International University. I left the job in San Diego with Physical Community Services in a residential program for people with severe mental illness in order to come and study at San Francisco State. San Francisco State is a unique university with unparalleled opportunities in a broad-based progressive education. Student government is important to the mission of that education. Our student government leaders currently have really put their hearts and souls into creating a basis for our student government to operate well here at San Francisco State. They've created the basis for us to be able to move this university forward and to really advance the opportunities for education for students here. The Vice President of External Affairs is an important position in making sure that those opportunities for education are available to all at an affordable price. The Vice President of External Affairs represents San Francisco State on the State Association of Student Governments, at the Board of Trustees of the CSU, as well as various levels of government. Important issues are being discussed right now at those state levels about the cost of our education. The cost of our education continually goes up, whereas only 30 years ago, our education was free here at CSU. And there's a movement to move us back in that direction. There's also an important movement at the state level for social justice in education, to provide equity to students from disadvantaged backgrounds who are marginalized and otherwise need their educations in order to pull themselves up into a better place. So I want to represent San Francisco State as that person on the state councils in order to help advance that agenda. San Francisco State is a very unique university with a very special student body. No place in this country can you get the broad-based progressive education that represents San Francisco values that is San Francisco State. We have a rich history of student activism and social justice that I think that we need to talk about quite a bit more. This upcoming year is the 50th anniversary of the student strike that brought us the very first program in ethnic studies, which is really our pride and joy here at San Francisco State. We need to lead the way, not just on social justice, but we need the world to see San Francisco State as the home of social justice in education. So I'm calling next year for a social justice conference to coincide with the 50th anniversary at the end of the strike, so that we can share our values with the world. Thank you.
So thank you, candidate. Your first question is, what are some pressing issues and/or concerns that you will be pushing for and advocating as VP of External Affairs? Why are these issues a priority for you?
So one of the important issues that people often talk about with San Francisco State is this myth that we're a commuter school and we don't have any school spirit. I think that we live our school spirit through our values. We just don't always know how to verbalize and explain the real heart of what San Francisco State is to other people. The community doesn't really know how to even describe what San Francisco State is. We're just the only public four-year university in San Francisco. We really have important values that I think not just impact our university or our community, but the world. And so I think that we need to help students see that our school spirit is our values in social justice, our values in making the world a better place and being change makers in the world.
Thank you. Your next question is, what are some outreach strategies or goals in creating a more involved and active student body?
So one of the things that I thought would be important for us to build school spirit, or this idea of being important change makers in the world, is for San Francisco to be more involved in our community, for us to have opportunities to do community service, to be involved and active in fighting for justice for people in our communities. I sit on the human rights work group of the Coalition on Homelessness. And so every week I'm out there talking to people on the street, trying to help them fight for their own human rights. In this city, unfortunately, the city believes that they can just come and sweep people off the street anytime they want, and think that that's important to our community. to see people just dehumanized and treated as less than important in our communities. They're citizens just like we are. I think taking our values as San Francisco State students out into our communities and fighting for these issues and helping to make life better for people who don't have their own voice or can't be heard, I think it's an important thing that we can really bring to our community.
Thank you. Your last question is, as the primary representative for Associated Students at the California State Students Association, or CSSA, how will you advocate so that AS of SFSU and SFSU as a campus is equally effectively represented as possible?
So, the state association is kind of the cream of the crop. It's the politically minded, active students on each campus all coming together to work for common issues. My belief is that when you fight for what's good for all of the CSUs, you're fighting what's good for us. When you fight for only yourself, you're really not benefiting anybody. I think that fighting for our values and the opportunities for education, for advancing students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds, that is what benefits San Francisco State, but it's what benefits all the CSUs at the same time. I think that our need to be equally represented or to have a voice for San Francisco State is really to represent our values with the entire CSU system. Let's help the world be more like us rather than try to get what we need from the world.
Thank you, candidate. I will now take a Q&A from the audience if anyone has any questions to ask our candidate.
Hello.
Hi.
I think your dog is really cute. And I just sent a picture to my boyfriend of your dog. How old is your dog? Sorry, it's not very related to the campaign.
No, that's all right. I'd be happy to talk about Eddie. Eddie is 9 years old. He's been with me for 7 years. He is trained as a service animal. He is trained to alert me to symptoms of panic. So I used to have panic attacks where I would end up in the hospital. So it's not that he's just a calming influence. He actually gets in my face if I start getting anxious and panicky. And I haven't been in the hospital the entire time I've had it because of it. To that regard, I kind of say he's my sanity. And I don't think anybody should leave the house without their sanity. So he's always with me.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hi.
You said that our community really just looks at us as a commuter school. What will you do to make sure that our community outside of SFSU will look at us differently?
So I think that, I don't know that it's the community outside us that looks at us as a commuter school. We call ourselves that. And
Okay.
believe that that's the myth that we think we are. That the community only sees the things that we really put out to them, right? So they only hear the things when we make news or when there's something notable to talk about us. We're on the kind of the fringes of the city limits. We're not really integrated in the community, except by our values, except by how we really present ourselves. It's really about helping students to identify with the idea of what San Francisco State is. And for me, being able to go out in the community and say, I'm excited about what's going on in San Francisco State because of this. Because we're fighting for social justice. We're changing the world. We're making things better for people that are disadvantaged. So I think it's about us having the pride to be able to say, this is what we're about.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys. What is the one thing that you would like to do like to do this year that hasn't happened last year as VP of External Affairs?
So the Social Justice Conference is really kind of one of my big initiatives. I think that also we have many programs and services that Associated Students provides. We have Project Rebound that helps students that are formerly incarcerated. We have Project Connect that helps students that come from disadvantaged backgrounds to afford books and to have the same opportunities of education. I think that we've rested on our laurels a little bit with that. Those are wonderful programs. They do a lot of good work. I think that we need to challenge ourselves to take those things to the next level. I think that supporting students that are formerly incarcerated by not just giving them services or programs, but literally giving them real psychosocial support that helps them to overcome the stigma of being formerly incarcerated, a record which doesn't really represent who they are as people, and to help them see the value that they have, not just in themselves, but to us, that they have an experience, a lived experience that brings more value to this university than many of our, even our instructors do. They live life, real life. They have real experience. Those are the people that we really need to be learning from.
Thank you. Do you have any more questions from the audience? All right, so
Thank you.
Candidate for External Affairs. We will now have our candidate for VP of Internal Affairs come up. So you may provide your opening statement when you're ready.
Hello everyone, my name is Mia Veal and I'm running for the VP of Internal Affairs for Associated Students. After being on AS for the past 2 years as just a representative, I think I've seen a lot of how internally our structure needs a lot of help, especially this year being the Vice Chair of the Internal Affairs Council. And my main goal is to have AS function as smoothly as possible for our board of the 2018-2019 board, but especially our future boards. But besides that, being a VP, I would also want to advocate for students, especially my fellow students in administrative discourse and in bringing their voices out to the administration.
Thank you. So your first question is, as VP of Internal Affairs, what are your goals for outreaching to students who are unfamiliar with AS, or what would you implement in order to improve our relationship and visibility with SFSU students?
I think one thing about AS that's so special is our programs, and our programs I think are one of the first ways for students to learn about AS, especially. And I would say that better supporting our programs, especially, and then maybe even, I know this year there was starting of an internship program for all the programs, and I don't know, somehow maybe emailing students, like first-time freshmen or transfer students when they get here, about the opportunities that Associated Students has. And also, one thing that was really good Internal Affairs did this past year was have a mixer with all the programs in the Cesar Chavez Student Center in the lobby, and have pizza provided, and you have to go and meet all the programs before you got pizza. And this is around, like, I think they had it around September, October, and I would want to do that again.
Thank you. Your next question is, as a board member, how will you apply your past experiences and leadership skills to your new position?
I would say from being a representative, I feel like you take a lot more in, and sometimes you don't know as much because a lot of things happen in the executive part of the organization before it gets to the board of directors as you as a representative learns. So I think I'll take my listening and use that, because sometimes you shouldn't just rush to a opinion or a vote. You should actually, try and vet through everything thoroughly before it comes to a vote at the board. And also, I think another thing is being able to listen to everyone and their opinions, and making sure that you know that when you have a disagreement with another board member, it's not personal, and that both of y'all want the best for students and realizing that.
Thank you. Your last question is, with the 14 programs and services within AS, how will you assess or support these bodies to ensure they are continuously improved and meet the current needs of our diverse student body?
So I know that we just passed a policy with internal affairs to have where there's every year there would be a assessment of the programs and how they are for our students. And also then every couple of years there'd be an outside group that comes in and assesses the programs. But every year for the internal assessment, I think it should be board members that go, but besides that, fellow students that go. Some type of incentive maybe for students, like food, or they get like a prize, and then they go and assess the programs to see how they felt when they walked in, and the questions that they were asked, or like the questions that were answered by people that work within the program and their knowledge about it. And also, I would say that our programs definitely they have a mission statement, and I think maybe another way to assess is how well they're following their mission statement.
Thank you. So I will now take a Q&A from the audience.
Hello.
Hi.
The Vice President of Internal Affairs has oversight for all the employees and the programs in student government that student government provides. How important to you is diversity in hiring and running for those programs, and what will you do to advance the diversity of the people that run our programs?
So definitely diversity is a very important thing, but one thing I should say is that if during a hiring process or if we're looking at people's applications, it's not just looking for if they fill a diversity quota, it's seeing how well they would do in their job. It would just benefit, also if they're, someone of color or, someone that is in a marginalized community, but that shouldn't be the main reason that we're hiring someone. But definitely I think in the hiring process, we should see how much they care about social justice, how much they care about, students and higher education and quality for our SSG students.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the audience? All right, thank you very much, candidate.
All right, the feed's good.